Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my WandaVision Episode 9 post-credit scene video all about what's going on with Wanda during Doctor Strange 2. We know a lot about what's going on with that movie already, the characters that they're doing, and now because of WandaVision, we have an idea for what the plot actually is. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I'll also be doing full episodes for Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's going to start in a couple weeks too. Careful for spoilers for everything that happened on WandaVision, obviously, if you haven't seen the episodes. But there are two post-credit scenes in the WandaVision finale, so it's actually a mid-credit scene and then there's an actual post-credit scene if you want to get really technical about it. I'm mostly going to focus on that Doctor Strange 2 post-credit scene in this video. But at the end of WandaVision, Wanda fully accepts her new identity as the Scarlet Witch, takes all of her chaos magic power back from Agatha Harkness that she stole, and takes most, if not all, of Agatha Harkness's magic from her. Like you see all that purple energy flowing into her along with her red chaos magic energy. Then after going final boss form, Scarlet Witch, she says her goodbyes to Vision, Billy and Tommy, the twins, knowing she might never see them again, but kind of hopeful that she will. So even if you don't include the actual post-credit scene reveal, the writers kind of left the door open for all three of them to return in the future with the lines of dialogue that they all went out on. Like she keeps saying, family is forever. She said that line a couple times during the series, no matter what. So that's like Kevin Feige saying, yes, things are going to get really twisty with this, but they're totally coming back in the future. And we all expected Billy and Tommy to come back and them to do a version of their comic book story for Young Avengers stuff in the future. It's more a question of how, not if they do it. But she flies off in her new comic book costume, full-blown comic book Scarlet Witch, with the Darkhold to learn more about her chaos magic powers and her role as the Scarlet Witch of the MCU, because the way they explain it, it's basically a title. Learn what the Darkhold says about her and investigate the claims that Agatha Harkness was making about Wanda unleashing something terrible. There were a couple lines of dialogue that Agatha had while they were battling each other saying, "You have no idea what you've done, you're going to need my help to deal with what's to come." More on that in a second too. There are a couple clues inside the actual Darkhold book itself when you look at the pages. But in the actual post-credits scene, it's implied that she's in the MCU version of the Mountains of Wundagore, the place where her mother actually gave birth to her in the comics, and a lot of you have also asked if this scene is actually meant to be a real scene from the Doctor Strange 2 movie, like if they just clipped it right out of Doctor Strange 2 and tacked it onto the end of WandaVision. They've done that before, but it's rare. The best examples of that are the Doctor Strange Thor Ragnarok post-credit scene. That was an actual scene from Ragnarok that Taika Waititi filmed himself, even though Scott Derrickson filmed the Doctor Strange movie, and they just sort of tagged it on to the end of the Doctor Strange film. And before that, they did kind of the same thing with the Ant-Man post-credit scene for Captain America Civil War, with the Bucky scene. It was a scene they clipped right out of Captain America Civil War and just tagged onto the end of the Ant-Man movie. But for the most part, the Marvel movie post-credit scenes aren't meant to be actual footage from the movies that they're teasing. But as a lot of you detected, as this scene is happening, they're playing the Doctor Strange theme song in the background just to let you know that this is meant to be a Doctor Strange 2 teaser. I know a lot of people were wondering why Benedict Cumberbatch didn't actually show up in the WandaVision finale, even if it was only to be on screen for a couple seconds. I think when they were actually filming this scene for WandaVision, they weren't quite ready to start filming Doctor Strange 2, so they didn't know quite what they were going to do with that movie yet. They were still working on the script. And also, some people have pointed out that when they were filming WandaVision, because of the pandemic, because of the virus, Benedict Cumberbatch was literally trapped in like New Zealand or Australia. Like he couldn't travel for a while. And they filmed a lot of WandaVision in Los Angeles. So even if they had wanted Benedict Cumberbatch to show up, they probably would not have been able to do that. So my assumption is that we won't see this scene during Doctor Strange 2. But the other really important Easter egg here, the Mountains of Wundagore, is this is the place where the god of chaos, Chthon, wrote the Darkhold book that she's reading from in this scene. It's also the place where the High Evolutionary's base was located. For those of you that are hoping that they do him at some point, his real name is Herbert Wyndham because he started out as a human man. There was an Easter egg for him in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Burhurt, the planet they went to, is basically an anagram for Herbert. There's a lot of theories about them trying to tie the High Evolutionary to Rocket Raccoon's backstory, so we'll see if we wind up seeing that character eventually. The connection back to Scarlet Witch, though, is that Scarlet Witch's mother fled to the High Evolutionary's castle in the Wundagore Mountains to give birth to her, and when she was doing that, the Elder God Chthon imbued Wanda with her potential for magic and a lot of her power. That was all the chaos magic that Agatha Harkness was referring to. The way the WandaVision episodes changed that backstory just for the MCU a little bit is they say that she had only barely tapped into her latent abilities when she was a child, and when she encountered the Mind Stone, it then amplified her abilities off the charts to cosmic levels. so she would have always been very powerful had she trained as a witch. It's just that the Mind Stone turned her into the mythical, one true Scarlet Witch that the Darkhold spoke of. So it's a funny backdoor time travel explainer, because in the flashbacks we saw that the Mind Stone gave Scarlet Witch a vision of her future when she went final boss form Scarlet Witch. And now we know from the Darkhold that it spoke of her and foretold her future as the Scarlet Witch. The whole thing about her future is the Darkhold is saying that she is supposed to destroy the world. That'll get into the plot of Doctor Strange 2. I'll talk about that in a second. We're going to get into a lot of time travel story during the Loki series, so they'll probably explain a little bit more about how time travel actually works in the MCU. They kind of touched on that briefly during Avengers Endgame. The way they set that up is the whole idea is that you can't change your own past, you can only create alternate timelines. That's why they got into that whole big explainer with the Ancient One talking about how the Infinity Stones control the flow of time, and you also alter the flow of time, create more branch timelines when you try to steal Infinity Stones from the past. But just to be clear, with Scarlet Witch's powers, even before she had her power upgraded, she was always able to cast spells without using incantations like Agatha Harkness says. That was in the flashbacks with the Stark Tech bomb. The way they explained that is that she used a hex spell without speaking any words as a child, just on instinct, to stop the bomb from exploding. So she was born super powerful already. But like I said in the comics, that's because Chthon, this god of chaos, imbued her with all this power when she was a baby. But as we see Wanda now, after what seems like a small time jump, no idea exactly how much time has gone by, she's seen astral projecting herself, studying from the Darkhold, while also just hanging out drinking tea, getting all that fresh Wundagore mountain air, just enjoying some alone time. When all of a sudden she hears Billy and Tommy's screams for help from another dimension. However you want to think about it, another plane of existence, the way the MCU talks about that though, like heaven, hell, those concepts, it's all just alternate dimensions. The very scientific way they explain how magic works in the MCU during the Doctor Strange movie. They kind of did that during the first Thor movie as well. Like, it seems like magic, but really it's just highly advanced science that you don't understand yet. So like the astral plane, when you're astral projecting, or when it seems like you're astral projecting, that's just another alternate dimension that exists overlapping with our dimension, so it seems like you're flying around like a ghost, when really you're kind of in two places at the same time. And I know there were a lot of questions about this too. How was Wanda's physical body still alert, walking around interacting with her environment while she was astral projecting? I think that's just them paying off the idea that she's supposed to be more powerful than Doctor Strange. Like Agatha Harkness says, per the Darkhold, more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. When you saw Doctor Strange astral projecting during the original Doctor Strange movie, you just see his physical body go inert while he's flying around. As for what happened to Billy and Tommy, like why are they screaming out asking for help? If it's true that Marvel really is using all this Scarlet Witch, chaos magic, Darkhold Easter eggs to set up the god of chaos, Chthon, then he would be the person responsible for what's happening to Billy and Tommy. So early prediction, they're just referencing the Mephisto parts of Wanda's backstory with the twins, but swapping in Chthon. Like he's messing with Wanda because she used chaos magic to create them, powered with the background cosmic radiation, the same energy as the Infinity Stones, and he controls chaos magic. He is the source of that magic. And the larger threat that Agatha Harkness was talking about in the finale is both literally and metaphorically chaos. Like Wanda will bring true chaos to the MCU in messing with large-scale chaos magic while she's trying to find and save Billy and Tommy. And this whole idea of her unleashing chaos on the MCU is the future that the Darkhold is foretelling for her. It is your destiny to destroy the world in doing all these things. The title of the movie, Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness, also implies an epic level of chaos anyway. And what's a better follow-up premise for the MCU after the Infinity Saga than chaos coming to the MCU? Like Thanos was all about bringing this grand, sinister concept of order, his order to the universe. Iron Man snapped him out of existence, so in the absence, in the vacuum of order, there is chaos flooding into the MCU, metaphorically and literally. So now it makes more sense why Doctor Strange 2 is one of the most important Marvel Phase 4 movies. That doesn't mean that Chthon, or the God of Chaos, however you want to think about him, is like the next Thanos level big bad, but it does seem based on these Easter eggs like that's what they're implying. So presumably after this, Wanda starts actually looking for her children, and eventually Doctor Strange learns about what's going on with the Darkhold, the Hex, and Wanda's chaos magic, and then he steps in. If she were gonna seek his help, she probably would have done it already. Like this post-credit scene makes it seem like she's been going it solo since the end of WandaVision, An early theory, just based on what they set up in the WandaVision finale and all the foreshadowing and the more obvious clues and connections to Doctor Strange 2, Wanda's whole motivation right now is in learning more about chaos magic and saving the twins. She's already shown that she has no problem going completely off the rails, going way overboard in everything she does with chaos magic. So now that she has one of the most dangerous, powerful books of magic in existence, with more information than she's probably ready for, she uses the book, the Darkhold, to try and find the twins. And that inadvertently sets off the actual plot of Doctor Strange 2, with the multiverse being engulfed in total chaos. Like there's some scene at the very beginning of Doctor Strange 2 where Wanda does something terrible on accident with chaos magic in pursuit of the twins, and that sets everything off. Also talking more about multiverse foreshadowing and Easter eggs in the Darkhold book. When Agatha Harkness is reading from it during the finale, notice these two pages here that it opens up to. On the left page, you see what looks like multiple different worlds, which I think is the multiverse connection to Scarlet Witch and her chaos magic, because on the right page, she starts talking about Wanda, reading from her backstory, talking about what the Darkhold says about her. You assume then that this drawing is supposed to be of the Scarlet Witch, but it also kind of looks like a depiction of Chthon with the tentacles coming out of his head. Like this doesn't look like Wanda's hair. Given that his name is very hard to pronounce, it's always possible that Marvel also changes his character a little for the MCU, like they just refer to him as the God of Chaos or the Elder God. So far, they've said that Scarlet Witch is one of the most important characters during Marvel Phase 4, and I'm assuming this is why, because she's so deeply connected to the concept of chaos in the MCU chaos magic, literal chaos, the forces of chaos. And because of her connection to the Infinity Stones, she's also a good bridge between the Infinity Saga of movies, Thanos, the last really big bad, and the new big bad of Marvel Phase 4. Just talking more about the Doctor Strange 2 movie, what we know right now is that obviously they're going to introduce America Chavez's Miss America character. She's one of the many new Young Avengers characters in addition to Wiccan and Speed that they're introducing in the new movies and Disney Plus series. Her big power is opening portals to other dimensions, and she got her powers in another alternate dimension that exists outside of normal space-time in the presence of the Demiurge, and that's the sentient godlike life force that created the Elder Gods like Chthon. So she also has a connection to the concept of chaos in the MCU, and it's a multiverse movie, she's a multiverse traveler. Baron Mordo is also back too, and his big thing, you remember in the Doctor Strange post-credit scene, was getting rid of magic users. He keeps talking about the bill coming due. There has to be a consequence for people using magic or misusing magic. Think about how he would react when he learns about what Wanda has done with chaos magic in the Hex. He would probably really hate her. But we'll probably get the first Doctor Strange 2 trailer in the fall. That's usually the schedule Marvel is on when it comes to dropping trailers. So even though we have Falcon and Winter Soldier episodes coming up, obviously I'll be doing videos for that, we'll get more information about Doctor Strange 2 for the next couple of months while they continue to film the movie. But post all your theories and your predictions in the comments below. How do you think that Wanda is connected to the big bad of Marvel Phase 4? And who do you think that big bad is? There's a couple more WandaVision videos that I'm working on, and then eventually I'll start doing more Falcon and Winter Soldier videos. There are a couple new trailers that they've dropped as well, so I'll try to get those videos out as fast as possible. Make sure you have alerts enabled for my channel so you don't miss any of those. Everyone click here for my full WandaVision Episode 9 finale video and Easter eggs, and click here for that brand new Thor 4 Love and Thunder first look video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys tonight.